Leeds, Leeds, Leeds. What is happening? Welcome to Series 7 of Working Hours, an oral history podcast about a place called Leeds, a time called now, and an activity called work. Working Hours is trying to interview 200 loiners, that's people from Leeds, over the first half of the most important decade in the history of the human species and ask them about what they do all day and hear how they feel about it. My name is Simon, and this is all my fault. My mission for this podcast is to try to capture just some of what my city, Leeds, a city that has declared a climate emergency, is doing during humanity's biggest emergencies. On Working Hours, you hear how loiners have, are, and will be coping with our multiple and expanding crises during their day-to-day working hours. To tell this story, I need loiners like you, dear listener. I need people in Leeds or people from Leeds to come on this podcast and tell me about what they do all day and let me record how this decade affects our work. Thank you for listening to this episode. What did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, right, okay, so I wanted to get out of school. That was the first thing I'd say. I'd done my GCSEs, hated school. To be fair, my last school I went to, Mount St Mary's in Leeds, it were a good school. I enjoyed it. But school wasn't for me.
Yeah.
It's that wasn't my... I was never going to go to university or higher education college-wise. I just wanted to get in and get stuck into something.
Yeah.
So when I left in 1986, so it's my 40th year in the business in June, I literally came out of school and I was going to be a painter and decorator. That's what I fancied doing, setting up a business doing that, but obviously learn the skills first. So we were driving into Leeds one day, probably a week after I'd finished, and my dad said, right, what's the plans then? I went, right, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to enrol and this is what I'm doing. I went, right, that's fine. But with like a lot of people in family businesses, it was, right, we're a bit busy. Can you come in and lend a hand over the summer holidays and get stuck in? So, like I always say, that 6 weeks holiday, it's been a long summer holiday. 40 years, I'm still here. So, but look, once you get in, if you're a hands-on type of person, you've walked around our factory. Yeah. It's pretty hands-on. Yeah. And, I started tea lad when I came in, so I'm making 35 cups of tea at 8 o'clock in the morning, 10:30, 12:30, 2:30, did the sandwich run for everybody, because that's what you used to do in factories back then. Yeah. You didn't have mobile vans coming round, or it was just like literally you had the tea boy, and that's how I started, and then went through in between those hours while I were brewing up, I was making sub-assemblies for the guys who were building the jukeboxes. I was wrapping machines, sending them out, and literally worked my way through the business to where we are now, and still some of the people out in the factory I were working with back then. So it's we've got a great team here, and many of them have been here 2 decades, 3 decades. A few of us are going up to 4 now. So, and we're still all young still.
Well, when you're building this product, you stay young, don't you?
Of course, yeah.
What was your feeling about the business before that? Were you sort of like, I'm not going into going into the business. Yeah. That's my dad's thing. I'm going to do something else. And do you have any sort of, was it quite easy to give up the painting and decorating idea? Where you're kind of like, do you know what?
I think, look, first of all, I remember my dad setting the business up. Yeah. So, because I was 8 years old then, I remember if you're setting a business up from scratch, obviously there's conversations at home, and even though your parents are trying to keep you out of what's going on because you're 8, you pick up on things, and it was great. I remember when my dad got the first sort of like the garage he worked in Hunslet, and we went down and cleared it out, and it was great because as a kid I got to play on tail lifts on vans and go around sort of like an old wool mill and sort of like on the wooden floors and playing the lifts that were self-propelled lifts with a rope, and it were cool. It were a great playground for somebody at 8, 9, 10 years old. It were brilliant. So I'd always been not involved with the business, but around the business from my early days. So once I got in there, it just felt like home because I knew everybody.
Yeah.
It wasn't walking into a big scary place where I didn't know anybody because I've been knocking around there all my life. I used to go there in my shorts. So I walked into a building where everybody knew who I was, but no sort of like airs or graces, no special treatment. It was just like, right, this is Chris, obviously, making work. And that's what happened. So I got a great work ethic from day one, and I still have. And I think a lot of probably how I've grown up over the years really is if somebody says we can't do that or it's impossible, I'll prove them wrong. And that is probably one of my strengths, I think, that if it does look like we're going to get beat or something's not going to happen, we'll just drive it and drive it and drive it until we get there. And I think that's probably some old schooling. And I think it's something that we could do with a bit more of now, because sometimes you've got to roll your sleeves up and get on with it. And it's not a 9 till 5. It's a finish when you finish type of thing, and you don't let somebody down. And that's what it's about, and especially in a team that you've got, or whoever you are, whether you're the guy that's packing it or building it or sub-assembling it, we're all part of the same team. And if one of those links goes, you're all in the same mess.
Well, it's like the machines, isn't it? It's like they're all components, and if the component's
100%.
broken, then
That's it.
You're listening to Series 7, Episode 9, and to my guest, Chris Black. This is another in-person recorded at the awesome Sound Leisure Factory here in Leeds, recorded on the 19th of May 2026. Hello, colleague. Chris Black left school in 1986, intending to become a painter-decorator, but ended up joining his dad's growing company instead, starting as a factory lad and then working his way up through the departments of installation, service, sales, and then spending 25 years as managing director before becoming the joint chairman of the business. Sound Leisure today is a global specialist, selling their jukeboxes in more than 40 countries around the world. In this episode, Chris explains how the jukebox business has shifted during his time from 1950s Americana to becoming a global lifestyle product. We discuss how the industry moved from more accessible widespread models to specialist high-end custom builds, and how the industry has moved to a much stronger emphasis on advising buyers about their products and providing long-term excellent service to their customers. Chris emphasizes the vital importance of providing world-class customer service and the benefits of having a family culture in business. We reflect on sustainability and discuss the pragmatic business constraints of making and shipping products. Chris tells us how Brexit is a major ongoing disruption for EU trade, and we talk about the operational upheavals of COVID when his business had to pivot to coffin making to help out in a time of national crisis. We also talk about Chris and Sound Leisure's involvement in the Leeds Manufacturing Festival, as well as his and his business's support for apprenticeships. And we speak to the importance of social media for giving a modern business worldwide credibility. Right, let's do this. Episode 200 of Working Hours with Chris Black. So I'm going to jump into the next question, which is, what do you do now? So we haven't actually discussed this yet.
Right.
So what is it that you're doing now?
So now I'm joint chairman with my brother. We brought a managing director in. So I was managing director for probably 25 years.
Of?
Sound Leisure, yeah. So Sound Leisure, I was managing director until probably around September last year.
Yeah.
And we realised we needed some more strength in the business, and we needed some. I get out there and I try and sell to people. That's basically what I'm doing now, because I know the product inside out. I've got contacts all over the world, and it's a people business that we're in. And we can't just have some AI bot sat on the end of a web page talking to people. People, when they're spending the money we're talking about, they want to talk to a human. They want to know that we exist. They want to, if they can speak to one of the owners of the business, even better, because they feel safe.
Yeah.
And it gives it some credence. And to be honest, it's what I love doing. I love talking to people. I love meeting people. I enjoy doing the exhibitions, which, to be fair, this year I've not done as many. So my son, Alex, is in the business as well, or one of my sons, and him and Nigel, who you've met, they're doing a lot of the exhibitions at the moment, just because there's that much other stuff going on in the world. And sometimes you just got to step back and look after the business rather than day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
So, but at the minute in time, we're working with a lot of high-end partners that are well known throughout the world. Some people will have heard of people like Wurlitzer, people like Marshall. So I deal with the guys like that. We've got some other big customers that I'm not allowed to talk about that all need looking after, rightly so, but take a little bit extra because some of the projects that we work on are crazily exciting, but also massive problems if it goes wrong. So you need somebody to really manage that. So I tend to head up a lot of that side. Where every day is sort of like a different day at the office type of thing because you don't know what you're walking into.
Yeah, and you've got to provide actual customer service here, and people like that feels like something that's getting lost in the mix these days because
100%.
of automating stuff and kind of outsourcing and so on. But you've got to be accountable to the customer. You've got to be there for the customer, and you've got to be fixing stuff if it needs fixing. And equally, you've got to say, well, that's not our, we didn't do that. We didn't break that. That's not on us.
Yeah, I mean, customer service is one of the things we've built the business on. And I think that's due to having the hospitality side of the business as well. Because when you're working in the pubs and club industry, if you want, a lot of the time you've got a 2-hour deadline to get to a site, fix it, and move on. So I got brought up when I was about 18. As soon as I passed my driving test, I went out onto the road and into the pubs and clubs and installed the jukeboxes in there. So I was working 7 days a week. We were working when the pubs were open. So it's the long days, long weeks. But you really do look after the customer because if you don't, you've lost all your business. And that's something we've brought through to the classic side of the business now where if somebody rings up, I want it sorting. I'm embarrassed if it's broken down, to be honest, because they don't break down that often. But because of the length of time people own the machines, as I say, it could be 4, 5, 6 decades. At some point, I can guarantee something will go wrong. And if it's somebody you've not spoken to for 25, 30 years, it don't matter if it's a brand new machine or if it's 30 years old. You still need solving and you still need to do it. And that could be in this country or it could be in Japan, America, Australia. It could be in one of the 45, 46 countries that we sell to. And it's like we were saying yesterday, we sold 3 machines to a country I've never even heard of. You have to get a map out to see where it was. So it's solving somebody's problem is like a buzz of selling a new machine to me because they're grateful that you've done it because they do become integral into people's lives, these machines. And it can be on a cruise liner, it can be on, so that's a commercial one, for instance, where that's imperative you get it fixed because they've got 2,000-3,000 people on the ship, and I want that working because it's got our name on the front of it. Or it could be in somebody's home, and it's somebody who's cherished it for years. So every one of them's important, and it's something that we pride ourselves on to give that outstanding customer service every time. Yeah,
because you want to keep that reputation, and because you build that reputation, then you want to keep it, and maintain it. So we know a little bit of how you got into the business. So just to clarify, you were Sound and Leisure, make jukeboxes.
Sound Leisure,
make jukeboxes here in Leeds. Manufactured in the factory here, which we're in. So you mentioned they're sort of doing sales. So was the kind of route, did your dad, I don't know how planned it was, but did he sort of like get you on the shop floor, learning your way around that? And then were you kind of pushed towards doing a bit of sales training?
I've never been pushed anywhere, to be honest. And it was when I was on the shop floor, so I was building the machines and I understood how they worked. We then had what we call the operating division, and that's going and putting the machines into hospitality venues. Because I know how they worked, Ralph, who ran that division then, who was brought in to run the division, asked for me to join him to go out and install the machines into the pubs and then go on to service. So I did that. Once I'd done that, probably for 2 or 3 years, the next progression then really was into sales because I knew what machines suited each commercial venue, because back then it was mainly commercial that we were manufacturing, not more for people's homes like we do now. So then it was, right, you can get around the world and you can talk to clients that are going through the same stuff as we do in England, but it could be in France or Australia or Taiwan or wherever, and go, right, this is your machine, this is the one you want to concentrate on for your particular venues. Yeah. And that got me into sales. And then the surprise was when my dad said to me, look, I want you to become managing director, because my dad is, anybody who knows my dad is, wow, how do you describe my dad? He's like the mad professor, if you want.
Right.
But he's a quiet guy. Yeah. He doesn't like the limelight.
He's like a tinkerer. He likes to...
Yeah, but he hates the word tinker. If I say that, he'll shoot me. But my dad has invented so much technology. Yeah. So the satellite video jukebox, digital audio jukebox, he was the first person in the world to try to patent that, but the patent office wouldn't allow him to. But literally, in our industry, there's probably nobody who's done what he has done. Just building a jukebox in Britain, everybody said was impossible. Yeah. So I won't say was pushed, but literally what we were doing is, my dad had come to me and gone, look, you get on with people. I don't particularly like people. I'd rather be in my workshop tinkering. Even I've used the word now, you've said it. That's me.
Sorry.
Be struck off. And literally, he likes to be developing. He's still doing it now. He's 81 next month. He's in the factory every day, and he's still developing, and he's still trying to make things better. Yeah. And so he said, look, you're dealing with all the retailers and the brewers, and the customers are coming over now. You should be the face of the business now, because people, when they come and see you. Yeah. So that's what we did. And I was very young and naive, if you want, but you learn quickly. And my dad was still there. And I had another guy called Eddie Moss who set the business up with my father originally, who was a great role model for myself. And various other people who've been in the business who were like 20, 30 years older than me. Yeah. Help form who you are, don't they? Yeah. And you learn from them, and hopefully you take the best bits of everything they do, and that's what we've done, and that's somehow got us through the last 48, 49 years. And but as I say, I've still got my dad to lean on. Got a great business network to lean on. I think one thing Leeds has got is a fantastic business network, and we've got good people everywhere in this city. So part of the Western North Yorkshire Chamber of Commerce, I sit on the board there. So they're a great team. The board members are great, but all the companies we deal with, you meet people and you strike relationships up and friendships with them. We've got Leeds City Council, daft as it seems. There's some great people on Leeds City Council, David Bagley, growth manager. There's just good people everywhere, and if you can find those people, they will help you out in times of need or when you've got a problem. And that's what it's about, I think. Yeah.
So I'm going to go into the other questions, and we'll go through a little bit quicker than we normally would. And I'm going to start, because I think this will be the kind of smallest area of the 4 questions. I'm going to start with the climate change question. So that's the difficult thing as a business for you to deal with, because you're using a lot of materials.
Yes.
Like supplying all over the world. Like, in terms of how that appears for you in your work, what are is that something that's a concern or something that you can deal with? Like, are you doing any greening stuff? Do you do any green selling of things?
Look, what I think as a business, obviously we're aware of it, and we do try and do things. So, for instance, now, all our operations division, the hospitality side, we've been out putting contactless note readers on them, we've put apps on them. So, and I know this is a long way around to answer this question, but what that means now is where we were going to sites every 2 weeks in a car to drive round and collect the cash. We don't have to do that now, we do it every 3 months. So now we've as a matter of that, we've got less cars on the fleet.
Yeah.
We've got electric cars now coming into the fleet. We've got vans coming into the fleet that we're just testing. The problem we've got is the distances that we're doing, because the guys are travelling from Leeds to London and Southampton and wherever. So we've also got to be practical about the cost to the business, especially at this moment in time. So things like in the factory, our LED lights are done. We do complete recyclable on everything. So like metal, plastics, wood, we're doing all that side.
And it's not a disposable product either. That's a key thing. I was
going to say, and one of the things is, all the wood comes from sustainable sources and we can trace that back. But what we're building now, as I was saying when we're walking around the factory, when people join us, and even if that's an apprentice at 17 years old, they are told what they're manufacturing today will outlive them, or that's what they've got to build. So you don't find these in a skip, because you've got 10, 15 grand there. So these get handed down. You've seen how we record everything. So I know every component that's in that machine, and I know the serial number of every board that's in that machine. I know
and where they came from,
where it's come from, where it's going to, etc. So we try and run as sustainably as we can. But like you say, we are flying machines around the world or sending containers across the world.
But how else are you going to do it?
Exactly. And I think what we've got to do is, as well as trying to do the right thing, which we do, we've also got a business to run, and we've got to pay wages, and we've got to stay in business, basically. So there's certain things now. I wanted to do solar panels this year on the roof of the factory, but I've had to halt that because national insurance has shot through the roof, minimum wage has shot through the roof for 45% over the last 4 years, whatever it is, which then impacts every other wage scale. So it's a massive hit on us, and it doesn't always necessarily bring the results out that we want. I'd rather pay somebody and keep them in a job at this minute in time than having a solar panel on my roof. Long term, yes, we'll do it, but we've got to get through the Middle East war, Trump's tariffs, national insurance, minimum wage. At this minute in time, that's our biggest fear, or our biggest threat to this business. It's not climate change. Sounds wrong saying it, but that's the facts.
No, but it's the market conditions.
We'd love to, if we hadn't got national insurance and minimum wage like we had, there'd be solar panels on that roof now, and that'd be a big impact on us. But where we can change things, we're looking at biking to work schemes, we're looking at all sorts at the moment, because as people live locally who, if we had the bikes here, and they could just take a bike home, but we've got to put showers in and etc. So that's what we're looking at now, to try and get even the people that don't have company vehicles to use a different format of transport, for instance. So we're still trying to do things correctly, but as a smaller family business, as an SME, sometimes you can't do it all at once. And what we are doing, what I will say is, we're not a tick box exercise business. We're not going, I go to some of these events and I'm like, we do that. But I know some of the big PLCs are just going, right, we'll do that. We'll have a policy for that, but who checks it's being done? And that's what winds me up. What we are doing is actually, you can actually walk around the building and see it.
Or they do the thing where they're like, we're a green champion because we got rid of paper cups or something like that. And you're like, shut up. I mean, it's, I think the fact that it's on your radar at all, and that it's, people are concerned about it, and then you're taking it seriously. I mean, like you say, there's limits to what you can do, but you're looking at those areas where you can do things. And I think that's, that's laudable. So let's do, I don't know if I want to, let's do Brexit. So,
that's a good one.
I mean, so the question is, has it changed your work at all? And I'll just ask that question. Has it changed anything for you?
Brexit was a nightmare and continues to be a nightmare. Just less of a nightmare now. We know how to run some of it, but that was our worst year that I can remember in business until national insurance and living wage increases. It went on too long, so it was like a slow death, really, because we were supposed to leave, and I can't remember the exact dates now because I've tried to blank it out, but I think we were supposed to leave in the March.
Yeah.
So we came back after Christmas, wrote to all our European distributors like we normally went, right, we're ready for your orders, here we go. And they went, we're not ordering anything. Why? Because you leave in March and you've got an 8 to 12 week lead time. If we order now, we don't know what the price is going to be. We don't even know how we're going to get the machines into the country.
Yeah.
We don't know what paperwork we need. So we went, right, okay, so we'll see you in March then type of thing. But then it got pushed back till October because it wasn't ready in March. So then we had a little bit of an uptick because we could say, right, people went, right, send them now because you will be able to deliver them before the deadline. But then it went back, I think, till the November or December. I can't remember exactly. But really, if we'd have been a cutthroat business, we'd have been laying people off.
Yeah.
But we were sort of like banking on getting through it and keeping the team, which we did, thankfully. But it's had other effects. So we've lost 3 exhibitions in the UK, where we used to go down to London, to Brighton. I can't remember where the other one was, but there were like 3 big, oh, not big, but Jukebox retro shows in the UK that have all closed. Because people from Europe used to come in and bring some of the older machines, the 1940s and 50s machines, and they couldn't get in and out with machines. Yeah. Likewise, the largest jukebox show in the world is in Rosmalen in Holland, in the Netherlands. And we used to go over there, but we don't do it anymore because we can't ship machines out and sell them, or we've got to decide whether we're going to sell them before we get there, which we can't do because we don't know if somebody's going to buy one. Yeah. So if somebody rocks up onto our stand and says, right, I want that jukebox there, we can, oh, yes, sir, that's fine. We'll take it back to England and then we'll ship it back again. It's like, it's mad. So, yes, it's affected us. Yes, there's problems still. I'm glad I want a freight company, I must admit. Like, building jukeboxes were considerably easier than the guys that were trying to ship stuff around. I mean, we had machines blocked at ports probably 2 or 3 occasions, even though we'd filled everything in that we'd been told to fill in. But look, it's smoothing out. I think the relationship is getting better with Europe now. So I go to a lot of events at Westminster, and I've been to quite a few events over the last 12 months where you can feel that relationship when the European ministers are in the room. It doesn't feel as cold as it used to do. They're all having a laugh now and they're talking, and it's better for everybody. I'm not saying we want to go back to how we were, but having that trade agreement, which is what it was supposed to be about, if we could all just trade, it's affecting everybody. So I remember going into France 12 months after it had happened and going into a customer's and saying, oh, you've got these spare parts. You're not sending them back. I went, Chris, I don't even know how to get them out of the country. I said, I don't understand why the European governments don't understand that by punishing you guys, it's punishing us because none of us can do business. And at the end of the day, that's all we want to do. We all want to just get on, run our own businesses, whether we're in here, France, Spain, Italy, wherever, and just deal with each other, because we've all got friends in every country that we deal with, and we have done for decades. And we all just want to get on with it because business is tough enough without a load of bureaucracy thrown into the middle
and a load of closed doors and extra challenges.
And cost. Because...
well, every bit of paperwork is a cost.
Yes, it is,
And like, even if you sort of, we're getting rid of red tape, so you've got rid of that bureaucracy, but now you've had to put a new one in here because you have to cover all of that.
Counterfeit, sort that one, So
and some stuff does need regulating, and some things do need to be tracked and all of that kind of stuff. So the next one, I usually do this the other way around, but I've changed this particularly for this. So a bit earlier, the COVID experience. Now, we've talked about it wandering around the factory. But I mean, you can talk about this maybe business and personal perspective, but so what I want you to think about is when we went into lockdown. So when you heard that we were going into lockdown, what was work like for you? Did it change anything immediately? Did it all sort of drop off, or were you just getting loads of phone calls from customers going, what the hell's happening? Or did it stay the sort of same? And then coming out of COVID, was there anything that changed permanently for you?
Right. So going into COVID was pretty scary because I was in bed with COVID 2 weeks before we got locked down.
Yeah.
So I think in the...
So you weren't even really thinking about it at that point. You were just
to be honest, looking back, I didn't realise how ill I was.
Yeah.
My wife was on proper freaking out state.
Yeah.
So when I'd gone down to London about 2 weeks, probably mid-February, and for an event in London, and it was just kicking off in Italy.
Yeah.
And I remember coming out of London, getting on the tube, and it was one of those days in London where the tube was just rammed.
Yeah.
So I let the first one go. I thought, I ain't getting on that. That's just insane. It's like one of those where you have to arch your back to get on the door, through the door. And I thought, I'll leave that one. Next one came, same thing. I thought, right, this next one I need to get on this, or my train's leaving King's Cross without me. So I got on the train, same thing, arched back, and everybody around me was speaking Italian. And I remember thinking at that stage, this isn't a good place to be. And then talking to myself, going, look, not everybody in Italy's got COVID.
Yeah.
Because we didn't even know what it was then, really.
Yeah.
Came back and we had a pop-up shop in Leeds, and I had been working crazy hours, like 7-day weeks. We were running the shop on a Saturday and a Sunday, so me and my wife and both my lads actually were in most weekends. And I thought, right, it was a nice sunny morning. I thought, right, I'm going to cycle in to the shop on the Sunday morning. And I set off. They were about 10, 12 miles from our house, and I got there and I felt a bit tired. And then cycled home, and it was like I'd run a marathon. And I got off the other end. I said to my wife, I said, wow, we're shutting the shop. I said, we've been working too hard. I said, if this is how I feel after 3 months, I feel like I'm going to die, and I've only done 12 miles. So I'm like, we need to close it, it's done. So came in here the next morning, felt rough as anything, and got out of bed 3 months later.
Dead.
So, and I think in all my working years, I probably had a week off.
Yeah.
10 days maximum.
Yeah.
It's like I don't have days off. It's just like, it's not me. Luckily, I've had health on my side. Never had any days off. So to have 3 months out, but I remember COVID hitting. I remember we had a container going to China at the end of the month, and a few people stayed back to make sure that got out. My dad was here, my wife was here, my brother has diabetes, so he had to exit stage left basically to try and protect himself. Him and his wife have both got medical conditions, so they were like gone. I don't think we saw Michael for 8 months. I was in bed, obviously because of the hospitality side of the business. Pubs didn't know what were going on. So I was literally... The hospitality supplier side that we're in on the amusement industry is a really close-knit network, like really all good friends. And they were having Teams calls and meetings, and literally I remember Kath coming in and putting a T-shirt on me so I could go on a Teams call while they're in bed, listening to stuff. And I mean, it were a crazy time, but my dad stayed in the business, and say a couple of people got the container out because that were a big chunk of cash coming in. But we all thought we'd be shut for 2 weeks, and not a week, and we'd be back. But that was March, and then literally, I think I came back. The first meeting I had in here was May, and the government put a lot of requests out for businesses to help in the cause for building defibrillators or whatever, like anything you could do. So we'd applied to do quite a lot. We had space in the factory, so they wanted storage space. So my wife was sending messages in, Kath was sending messages in, so look, we've got 20,000 square foot that's got nothing's going on if you want to use that for anything. But all the big jobs, sort of like the electrical jobs, were going out to people like McLaren and all these people that were well known. We weren't getting looked at for that. Storage space, there were people with bigger spaces than us. And then, literally, I remember, my wife says it's got nothing to do with this being a good Yorkshire lass. We were watching TV, and after about 2 months, I'd managed to get downstairs. Probably 6 weeks. And I managed to get downstairs. I couldn't get back upstairs because I didn't have enough strength in me. And we sat downstairs watching TV, and it were, unfortunately, it were that horrible thing where you saw all these bodies lining up, like in refrigerated containers. And there were all these stories going on about they might have to bring the army in, there were going to be mass burials, and obviously it were a horrendous time. So Kath sat there, she's going, we could build coffins. I'm going to ring the Coffin Makers Association up, and because there is one, unbeknown to us, obviously there is one. And she rang a guy up, and 10 minutes later, we got a phone call from somebody saying, look, if you're being serious about this is a strange thing. We've never had anybody ring anybody up from the outside of this world. We'd be interested in talking to you. And literally my first meeting back was coughing on this table going, can you build these?
I mean, it's great, but also that must have been a real kind of head. I've coming out of being really ill for a long time and being off, and then being like, and now we're going to build lots of coffins.
And that's it. And as I say, my wife says it had nothing to do with getting a free one for me being Yorkshire, but still challenge her on it. But look, we got involved and we worked with some businesses and we helped them out and we did it. And
no, it's a great thing
one of the
to
reasons
do,
for it was that the wood shop. We set up a WhatsApp group. Kath set this WhatsApp group up so she could keep in touch with everybody. And a lot of the lads in the factory were like, great, they're sat at home drinking beer, sunny, it's great, I'm getting paid, happy days. But a lot of the woodshop team were like, right, can't you find something for us to do? Because we're going insane. And
because we work with our hands all day.
We want to do things. And Kath was saying, look, they're going to lose dexterity. We need to try and keep this team together. So we did it, and I remember it because when we came in, it was hard work for me physically to come in. The doctors had said, look, you can't do anything. And then like 2 weeks later, they pumped all these drugs down me to stave off whatever it was we're going to get. And literally said, look, you've just got to take it easy now. And 2 weeks later, I'm sat in here lugging sort of like machinery around or trying to. Luckily, my son was with me and a couple of the other lads, and obviously doing it distance. We had all the doors open. There were 10 of us, I think, in an 80,000 square foot factory. But what it did do, it was a really good learning curve because we've built these jukeboxes for 40 odd years.
Yeah.
And we've changed a few things how we make them. And I kept going and going, oh, well, can't we try doing this? I'm going, oh no, Chris, you do it this way. This is why we do it and whatever. And you've got to leave it to the experts because I can't build one of those.
Yeah.
It's like you need the people who know what they're doing. But what we found is when we were building the coffins, they came in and literally after a day, everybody came in to the end and went, we can't do this. Like, what do you mean you can't do this? It's like, it's too difficult. Like, what do you mean? You're building them. You tell me you can't build that. And they're going, yeah, but it's different. And we went through it all. So I was right. In the morning, first thing, we'll have a sit down. What's up? And it was like, well, airlines that we use them from the floor. We need them from the roof. We need to set up like a F1 pit if you want. So you can reach down, drill, and the pipes come from up. Right, we'll do that then. So you lot go away and I'll reroute the airlines. We did that. And then it was like, well, we've got a problem with this now. So, right, okay. So we sit down, we work out how we solve that. So what we did is we did this, and over sort of like 2 or 3 days, we went from building maybe 23 to doing 70.
Yeah.
And this kept increasing and we were great and things were going right. So thankfully when everything was over and we didn't have to build any more and things had worked out and we got back to building jukeboxes, the nice thing that continued was the team that had been in on that started thinking about our machines. How can we make them faster? How can we cut waste out?
We can do things differently.
We can do things differently. And they shaved probably a day and a half off the build.
Nice.
No detriment to the products.
Yeah.
Just working together, looking at it and going, right, there is a problem there. If we did it this way, because I've always said, look, if it changes, if it goes wrong, go back to how we did it. But let's just keep trying. And I think that's instilled that. And it's nice now that I still walk around there and somebody will say, Chris, look at this. We've just tried this and we've just saved X amount of material by doing X, Y, or Z. Just thinking slightly out of the box. And not being scared to go to somebody and go, can I try this?
Yeah.
Which is what I'd always do. I always want people to be able to try and push and change.
Yeah.
Because we've got a method that works now.
Yeah.
You can always go back to it. You've got that comfort blanket to go back to. But if we can do that, and all of a sudden it does save £100 on a cabinet without... One of my things is you don't take... somebody's buying that. We're not.
Yeah. You don't take anything away from it.
Nothing away.
Yeah.
If you can build it in a different process that speeds it up, which is man hours, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Because there's no difference to anybody. What we're building is a quality product, and it's got to stay quality. We're not going down that route. We're not making a chocolate bar and making it a little bit smaller because it's like, and saying it's the same price. So COVID was horrendous from a personal point of view. Well, probably not from my point of view, because I didn't even know what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I was out of it completely. Yeah. My wife and my family were scared to death. Business-wise, thankfully, the government did what they did, and I know they've got a right beating for it afterwards, but we were all learning, and to be honest, a lot of businesses survived because of what they did. So let's look back and learn about it, but not sort of like pull people over the coals for a lot of what happened.
Could have been worse, could have been better.
It could have been, and there were some things that we know could have been better, but we got through it. I think from a business point of view, it was a great time because it was, from our point of view, we were back in the business. Me and Kath were the first two in. My dad was in, obviously, because he never goes home. So there were three of us in the business, and we gradually brought people back in. We had the shop in Leeds still that was empty, full of gear, but nobody was shopping. So then the phone started ringing. Oh, we've noticed you've got one of these ex-demo. Could we have one? Yeah. So me and Alex would go to the shop, pull one out, because we weren't manufacturing. Drive to London, carry it up a couple of flights of stairs, even though I'm not doing anything, apparently. So Alex did really well to get me through that, because he did a lot more work than you'd expect, really, at his age. And we kept it going. And the downside, it was still a fun side. It wasn't a downside. It was like setting up a business again from scratch. The only unfortunate side was you had a massive overhead.
Yeah.
So it wasn't doing it and you come in and it's like one guy working on a bench. We still had all this place and you had the worry of what happens then. Then hospitality kicked in and out. Yeah. So then we had to work out the licensing for the machines and who was allowed to go into the machines. And it was just, there were no limits on volume. We got instruction from government that you could turn jukeboxes on in pubs, but you couldn't have them on loud. Tell me what loud is. Loud to me and loud to you might be different. Loud in a country
How many
pub.
loves?
And it's like, literally, I was like, give me a decibel reading. And I can set every machine to that, because I didn't want people shouting over loud music and spreading the germs around. So that's what it was about. But
I was trying to get that.
That's what it was. And it's like, and you had guys running around with little clipboards from councils going, you've got that on it, it's too loud. And it's like, seriously, so you're going to get
party
fined.
Time for those people.
Yeah, and it was just like, seriously, so just tell us what you want us to set it to and we'll set it to that. And in the end, I took a decision just to turn every machine off in England that we run, just like completely turn it off.
Yeah, let's not
Ran all the licensing bodies, rang all the retailers and all the brewers and went, right, will you back me up on this, because this is just going to end up a mess.
Yeah.
Because nobody knows which machines are on, which machines are off.
Yeah.
There's paying for the license for the music every month for machines that are turned off.
Which is not a small amount of cash.
It was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And really, it only got sorted out. I think we did the final agreement in about 2024. So that's how long it all went on. But we got through it and it was good. In the end, we came back, we got tons of orders because people couldn't go on holiday. Yeah. So all of a sudden people had cash coming in. What do we spend it on? People were ringing us up saying, I've always wanted a jukebox. I can't go on holiday. Normally do a cruise or two a year. Yeah. There's 8-10 grand there. Let's have one. Let's do it. This is the chance we've got. And we were shipping them all over the world. We're flying them out to China. It was crazy. But yeah, we did it. We learnt from it. We still remember it. And it took a good few years to get over. But the team pulled together. I think the year where we had short supplies of everything, obviously. Glass, you couldn't get glass. Luckily, the guys at Morley Glass got me out of jail there. They did a mate's sort of like favour, if you want, and got us stuff. Wood was a nightmare. We could get 10-foot sheets rather than 12-foot sheets, so we had to turn the 10-foot into a 12-foot, which R&D couldn't get electronic chips, so the design team got stuck in and redesigned boards using different chipsets, and we were able to recreate what we do now with a different solution. So it was like a startup. You're having to think on your feet, because things that were normally not a problem, like ordering a piece of glass or getting a piece of wood or building an electronic board, that you just normally just ring one of your suppliers up or ring one of the team up and say, just sort this. Yeah. You couldn't do. So it was like, wow, we all need to start be on our game now and think about, look, 12 months in front now. Yeah. What is the next bottleneck? What is the next problem going to be? Yeah. And that's what we did, and we got through it, and we came through stronger, and it was quite exciting because you were living on your wits. Like it was literally, you were turning up on a morning going, right, how are we going to solve this? And you were doing it with maybe 3 or 4 of you, rather than 60 of us or 70 of us. Yeah. And then that were nice then, because we were introducing people back into the business. Mm-hmm. So as we needed to grow, orders kept coming in, you were bringing more people in as we could bring them in. So it were quite a interesting time. The downside is we had some people retire through it. Yeah. Because some people didn't come to work for 8 months. Yeah. And their time was up, type of thing. And we had people who went into COVID who were never going to retire, who had 6 months at home, and we had one guy in particular whose wife got COVID quite bad, and she needed looking after, so he had to retire, which were a shame. Yeah. But it also affected then the next generation coming through, because the people that you'd normally have somebody working next to for 6, 8 months, 12 months, didn't get that opportunity to do so. Yeah. So they were coming into a business to do a job without anybody to show them what to do. Yeah. So that then put pressure on other people in the business who knew it, because they say we've got a really good team here, and a lot of them have worked in different departments and different jobs. So we've got knowledge all around the business. And you've got
integration as well, because those they're not siloing, because they know how to talk to each other.
That's right, yeah.
And they have to talk to each other. Yeah. And in so many businesses that falls apart. Like it really does. Of like, this department's not talking to this department properly, and like that can be a huge problem.
Get that, and we've seen that over the years, and it's down to personnel, isn't it? And you've got to have the right people. And I think one of the nice things that we've got is there's a lot of families work within the business, so it's not just our family. So Dave on the mech section, 2 of his lads work with him. He's training them to build the player mechanisms. When we were in the wood shop, you saw Stuart. And Kevin's his dad, he's teaching his son how to spray and polish. He's doing his apprenticeship with us. There's Helen on reception, her mum retired, she was in accounts. You've got Helen in the factory, her brothers work here, her son works here. So we've got an automatic, unless they fall out at home, obviously, but you have got that where you're not dealing with strangers, and people come here and they stay here a long time. Yeah. So over years, everybody's got something that don't go right all the time. But people now, they deal with it, and you either just leave him alone for today, or you put your arm around him. Yeah. And it's knowing, because we've all worked together in such a confined space for so long, how people tick. And it's like going home to your own family. You know that when your son gets up on a morning, if he looks a certain way, it's like, right, just keep walking. Or your daughter or whatever, or your wife. And that's it. And everybody knows that. So that's just getting on with people and letting them deal with stuff in their own way, isn't it?
I mean, I want to say something about, obviously, it's very easy to think of a business, okay, you've been in business for X decades, and it's like, well, then you know everything. You've handled everything, you've seen everything. But I mean, the example of COVID, and then other things afterwards, it's just that, like, you never know. And you always have to be prepared, and 100%. You can never really be complacent, can you? Because it's like, this business inside out, everybody here kind of does. Yeah. But also, the business isn't the world, the world impacts on the business 100%. As well. And it's just like, okay, well, we've got to change everything, right? Well, we can do that. Yeah. And here's how we go about it. We have processes for it, or we have, previous experiences, or someone who was around for that, and they can tell us how we got through that, those kind of things.
Yeah. And I think look, you can't know everything, so you've got to bring the right people in.
Yeah.
So hence, like when we brought Nick in to take the MD role, he came in really to run the accounts. But he's going, look, I can do a lot more than that. So I'm like, right, I'll tell you what. It's like he came from being a managing director at his previous place. I'm like, right, I'll tell you what, MD, you can do that. I'll step aside and we all just work. I'm not a big thing on names and titles and art fussed. I'm not bothered one bit. Sometimes you've got to have a title when you're going into a room with people.
Yeah.
So when I'm going around the world and I'm meeting some of the customers we're dealing with, some of the big businesses, I can't turn up as Chris,
like,
the
"Hi,
XT lad.
Yeah.
But that's the only occasion where you do need a title. So, for instance, we were in China, and when you give your card out over there, and it's like, all right, it's the MD or it's the chairman who's here, it does feel important enough for them to spend time with you.
Yeah.
But every business is like a football team, and I think going back to COVID, and I've said this on multiple occasions, when we came back, because we didn't have the full team in, you had people covering other jobs because you couldn't afford to bring everybody back.
Yeah.
So it's only in the last probably 12 months, which seems crazy, that we've actually got the team back into the correct playing shape.
Yeah.
So, because we had the goalkeeper in striker, we had a striker in defence, we had midfield in bloody wherever else. And over time, you realise when you sit back and take time to look back, you go, right, why are they doing that now?
Yeah.
Because they just got used to doing it. And it's like, hang on a minute, we need to put some lines in again now. So you need to go back to doing that bit. You now need to take responsibility for that bit. And I think, I mean, obviously things change and businesses change, and every 12 months something happens.
Yeah.
And with a business like this that's not just in one sector or manufacturing, so say we've got the kids division, we've got this, I mean, the kids division in COVID, wow, they're supplying the NHS. So, and as a business, for people like, for our business, you've got hospitality, so probably one of the worst hit sectors.
Yeah.
NHS, they had a little bit more on the mind than putting children's play areas into the waiting rooms. So the kids division got shut down for going on 2 years.
Right.
So we had orders on our book in January 21. I don't think we delivered some of them until 2023.
Yeah.
Because likewise, the NHS had put people into waiting rooms. Doctors were moved out of working closely together, turned a waiting room into an office where you could put 4 or 5 people. And so where we had machines or games to go in, we couldn't even get them in there because there was somebody's desk there and a computer. Yeah. So it's taken years to filter through. Yeah. And so everybody were doing the same thing, and 100%. But as I say, it's we were probably in some of the worst sectors: travel and tourism, hospitality, and NHS. Yeah, so it's like if you're going to write anything down as not what to be involved with.
Well, yeah,
but we have the classics.
Because if they're not in a private home, they're in a public place, and any public place is well, it's gone.
Yeah, exactly. but that is one of the reasons we've got all these different divisions, and one of the reasons we export, because if England drops off a cliff, hopefully France or Germany or wherever, it'll be okay. So like now, America slowed down. It's not stopped, but it's slowed down. Dubai has stopped completely because of what's going on in the Middle East. But we've got other countries then that seem to be springing back up out of sort of like the ashes, if you want. Yeah. And it helps you get through a rainy day. And it's been that diverse business that helps us survive. Yeah. Because it's not all roses all the time. We have some great years like everybody, and you have some bad years. Yeah. And it's how you get through the bad years that's the count. That's where it's counted, because that's what makes you enjoy the good years when they come.
Yeah. So that's all the kind of decadey questions. I'm going to move on to... So we're doing okay.
Yeah, we're all right. Yeah.
So I'm going to move on to the change question, which is... So this is a bit more difficult when you run the business.
Okay.
Well, I've found from asking people, because they're kind of like, well, I could change stuff. But like, if you could change any 3 things about your work, you can count it as the business, or it could be your work particularly. It can be fantastic, or it can be realistic, and you don't have to pick 3. But if you could change any 3 things about your work, what would you change?
That's a difficult question.
It is.
Because I love what I do.
Yeah.
And I think I've been asked questions before about what would a change not just where I work or how I work or just through my life. I don't change anything. I've been very, very blessed with enjoying what I do, health, family, working with my mum and dad. My mum worked here. She retired when my eldest son was born to try and help babysit and look after and help Kath. Work with my wife, work with my brother. So, in all honesty, there's not a lot of change. I'd like a bit of political stability, which is out of my control.
You can still have it, though.
So, yeah, I mean, if we could get that and just give us a chance, because over the last 10 years, we have had some things thrown at us, and it's now become the norm that you sort of like operating a business which feels like you're wading through treacle sometimes. Yeah,
we've all got very used to this. Like, it shouldn't be like this.
No.
This is not how it's supposed to be.
But we've been saying that now since 2016, and we're 10 years in now after the Brexit vote, and you're thinking, last 30 years before that were easy. And I think, especially travelling round, as I say, I've done quite a lot with the Chamber of Commerce, and we've done quite a few trade missions. And you go to places like Dubai and Hong Kong, China, where I've just come back from only last month, and there is a different feel for business out there. Very proactive feel about how can we improve things for the businesses within that region. How do we reach these goals that we're at? And I think that's what we've been missing. I was very interested yesterday. I went down to the Royal Armouries for the Grow the North programme, that all the mayors were there. What they're looking at doing from the mayoral side interests me greatly, because it feels like we're getting a bit like a mini version of what I've always come back from these countries aforementioned and gone, look, there's a plan. And it doesn't matter who's in government, really. This is the plan. This is what we're going to do. Everybody knows that's the plan, and we'll get on and do it. And you might not please everybody, but if there's a plan and it's long term, not just 4 years, and then somebody else comes in and goes, oh, well, what they were doing were rubbish, so we'll just rip it all up and we'll start again. We can actually make some progress, hopefully, and it'll be interesting moving forward to see how it turns out. But that's all I'd ask for, just some stability and give us a chance. I can't control that. As far as I'm concerned, I'm loving it here, and I still like come in every day and go, right, what we're going to do, like sleeves up, let's get going. How we're going to improve, how we're going to make things better, how we're going to sell more. It's just great. So I don't need to change anything because I'm loving it.
I mean, to be honest, I've been walking around the place and I'm like, yeah, it's great. So this isn't a question that I normally ask, but I think, I'm in a unique position here with you so people often say, like, don't work with family and so on, but you've just extolled the benefits of, because I'm quite like, one of the things that annoys me about work, the many things, like, alarm clocks and commutes and various things, is spending time with people, that you've not really picked in your life. And work takes up so much of your life. And I'd really like the opportunity to work with the people that I like and that I spend time with most of the time. And it doesn't seem to be that popular in the wider community that people want to work with people that they know. I mean, it's hard for you to make a comparison to it of like, how would it be different? But like, I don't want to ask what are the downsides, but there's obviously a lot of benefits to it.
Look, there's downsides, there's benefits.
There's downsides to anything.
Yeah, of course there is, I mean, sit around one of our board meetings sometimes and your downside is everybody's family, so they'll just say what they want. So
however they want.
And it can get a bit heated, but we can still go for a beer afterwards. Do you know what I mean? It's like, look, you can't say there's never a downside, but I think the benefits I get, I mean, I love working with my son. It's fantastic. It's like great to see him growing up and learning.
Like bonus time with these people that you're like, you would normally be miles away.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd never see you.
On the other side, we've all got a job to do, so we're not all just sat upstairs like
you're not
chatting about football or rugby or whatever. So what it is though is it's. I mean, it's like people say, how do you work with your wife? Well, she's been sat in that office round the corner from where we are. You've not seen her. And a lot of the time we come in here at 7 o'clock in the morning and we go home at 6, 7 o'clock in the night, and that's the first time we've seen each other. So it's not like we're all living inside each other's pockets.
Yeah.
But different businesses, different people work different ways, and we just crack on. We come in and we've got a job to do, and we work hard. We're not all out on golf courses every day. It's like literally we do work because the industry we've been brought up in means you work.
Yeah.
And to survive, especially as I say over the last 10 years, it has been all hands on deck and get stuck in, and you live in the business.
Yeah.
And people say, well, you go home and you forget about stuff, and you don't. You go home and you do still talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, some nights we go home and go, right, that's it. We're just not, let's just leave it today because we're just like, that's been a hell of a day. But if you're the type of people that there's something more to working for a business and working in the business, and the business is your life, basically, which is what we are.
Yeah.
And I know people say, oh, well, you shouldn't be like that, but we enjoy it. We don't have a get-out plan, because everybody says, oh, you need an end game. No, you don't. You can just get on if you'd like it. My dad's 81, he's still here, he's still fit. He don't want to go home and watch TV. He don't want to go home and play golf or whatever. This is his life. He's enjoyed it. It's his playground. Crack on, enjoy it. My dad's dream is to get out of in a box that we've built in here. If he drops dead at his bench in the factory, that'll be the best day of his life.
Yeah.
So it's hard to speak. Everybody's different, but we all seem to manage it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we all go out every night of the week for a beer afterwards, but we can do. We all see each other, and you get on with it. And sometimes I'll wind our kid up and he'll wind me up, and we'll call each other a name, and then 2 hours later we're all sat in an office talking again. So, but it's probably how you're built, and everybody's got the common goal within this business to survive. So I think that's your first thing, because they keep throwing stuff at us. So your first goal is let's survive, and then your second goal is how do we improve, how do we make things better, how do we sell more. As I say, it's just like, how do we grow this brand and get it further afield, send it to further distant places, and people understand where it's come from. And it's not just Sound Leisure, it's Yorkshire and it's England, it's Great Britain, and it's like, it means a lot, and that's what keeps us going.
Yeah, yeah. And it's, and like I said, when we started touring the factory, of like, having manufacturing businesses, and never mind Britain, still in Leeds. The fact that we've still got manufacturing here in Leeds. And I do want to talk to you briefly about the manufacturing festival, but I'm going to ask the last question first. Okay. So, are you familiar with the universal basic income? Have you come across this before?
No.
So it's the idea that rather than paying out a bunch of like various little benefits to means-tested people, you just give everyone a benefit. Like, you can pick an amount in your head, but you pay everyone an amount. It's not a ceiling on payments, it's a floor on payments.
What's this, in the factory then?
No, this is for everyone.
All right, okay.
So if they brought in a UBI, I've just noticed the wing on that. If you that's ADHD. If they brought in a UBI, basically there would be everyone in the factory, but they'd be paid. You would be paid. Everyone in the factory would be paid an amount of money each month that goes to, it's like your citizens' income. You get this because you're part of the country, and rather than doing it all means tested, we just give you a bit of money, and then you've got something that you can actually spend as something in your pocket, is the thinking. It's really popular with Silicon Valley tech people, because they're like, no one's going to have any money. Give everyone money so they can buy our things.
Right.
But I think it's a really good idea for myself, and for various reasons. But so the idea is, you give everyone a set amount.
This comes from the government then? Or from
or they
private enterprise?
Fund it through something. But it would basically be central government money. Everyone gets this benefit. And the idea is everyone gets it. So, you don't have to do all the means testing. But also, you don't get the why should they get that sort of thing. Because everyone's getting it. And it's difficult if you're earning over a certain threshold. You're kind of like, well, I don't need it. And then it's like, well, what would you do with it? But my question, I put it in for a couple of reasons, because I want to talk about it more, because nobody really knows about it. And because I wanted a way of talking about money without talking about money.
Right.
And I didn't want to ask people how much they're earning and that kind of stuff. So If there was a universal basic income, how do you think that would change things for you? And the business, I guess, at large.
Difficult one without looking into that further. I think if everybody's getting it, like you say, there's obviously some people that won't need it, so they then just pass that to charities, I presume, which is what we do. It depends how you fund it.
Yeah.
Because at this minute in time, as we're sat here in the UK, we're running out of cash. Yeah. UK PLC. Yeah. We had this conversation yesterday at one of the events that we're at, and there's people now leaving well-paid jobs because there's that much money that they're getting on benefits, they don't have to work. And I spoke to 2 people yesterday who were going, I can't believe this is where we are, that I'm losing good people because they can earn more money on benefits than they can working for me. And these are guys on 40, 50 grand a year. And as a country, we're running out of people that want to work. We can't compete as a business, and many businesses can't compete with what's going on, that people are getting freebies. There's people in society we all need to help, 100%. And there's people in society that knows how it works and are manipulating it to their benefit. And if they weren't doing that, there'd be more money for the people that need it. And I think without looking into what we've just been discussing, I wouldn't like to comment really without seeing it. But to me, we all need to now try and grow a generation of people that actually want to work and not just be sat there with their hands out saying, feed me, because if it's at that level and it is feed me, there's a problem. We need to look after them, but we don't need to look after the guys that went on 3 international holidays a year and driving around in flash cars and then saying they've got no money. And that's the bit that scares me, and I don't know how the hell we get around that one at the minute. And yeah, difficult one, to be honest. I don't quite know how to answer that.
No, but you don't have to have a perfect answer to
no, it's a difficult. I think it's the biggest thing in the UK that's coming of how we sort out how to look after the people that are in genuine need and the people that are not. Yeah, and who are milking it, but it's because that's taking it out of the people that needs its mouth.
Yeah, it's like the food bank thing, isn't it?
Oh,
it's like that was supposed to be that's supposed to be a temporary solution. That's not supposed to be our solution to things.
Yeah. Well, literally, I spoke to somebody a couple of weeks ago, and he says, "I'm just shutting it down. There's people walking in with £1,000 iPhones and all the nails done, and all their like literally expensive gear on, and then saying we can't afford a tin of beans."
And then they're the ones that clear out everything in the pantry for all the people that actually need it.
Yeah, and you do talk. I mean, we get involved each year with Family Business United, and they have a big event here most years. Well, every year we've done it for the last 2 years. And that's a food bank project, but the guy that does it, Luke, he works in schools. He runs all the school kitchens, and they know the families that are in need, and he can channel the food to those families because he knows firsthand the teachers are saying X, Y, Z. Yeah. So these are the people that need it, and that works really well. But this way, we're just opening them in a garage somewhere and everybody's wandering round. It does frighten me, but it's how the hell do you do it? Because if you cut it off completely, the people who need it are damaged even more or hurt even more. And it's got to such a big crisis now in the UK. It needs somebody with some real balls to get in there as a government and go, right, we're not doing this anymore. This is like we're looking after these people. And if you're not one of these people, you need to go out and get a job.
Or it goes back to like you were saying about having some sort of, for want of a better phrase, industrial strategy of like having a plan, a long-term plan, and sticking to it, and communicating that. Yeah. Like, we're going to do this, and it's going to cover X, Y, Z. Yeah. I mean, going back to COVID, of like, they try so hard. You can be cynical about it, but they tried so hard in many respects to try and, have the narrative, own the narrative, and communicate to people. But then also it suffered from all of the political problems that we have in this country.
Yeah.
But it was like, okay, you can be cynical about loads of stuff around it, but there was also a genuine attempt to genuinely try and communicate things.
Yeah.
But also, you didn't always have things that you had to communicate. And when you're doing that all the time and you've nothing to say, just don't
say anything. Yeah, just don't do it. Yeah.
So, final thing.
Yeah.
Just want to have a quick chat about the Leeds Manufacturing Festival. For a start, just to get it mentioned on the pod, but also you're involved in it.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about that, how long you've been kind of involved?
Yeah, look, this year we've taken a step out of it, actually, from Leeds Manufacturing. Or not step out of it, but there's a steering committee. Mm-hmm. And because we've been literally this year had that many changes within the business, we've just said, look, this year we're just like, there's that much going on.
Yeah.
You guys need to do it this year. We've done it for 10 years, and there's a team of local businesses, Leeds City Council, Chamber of Commerce, who all got together because we could see there was a problem 10 years ago to do with colleges, schools, just really pushing people towards university, no matter what.
And
manufacturing. Yeah, manufacturing was suffering because everybody would disappear and being told they shouldn't go into manufacturing because it was a dead-end job, it's dirty, it's like, we all know, it's like, you've been around our factory. It's not like walking around a coal mine. It is like it's clean, it's tidy, people are enjoying it, they're having fun while they're here. But one of the problems is I think apprenticeships suffered greatly. I know when I left school, I was told I had to go to university or go to college. And a lot of my friends thought I were crazy not doing that. But as I say, I couldn't learn. I'm not somebody to sit in front of a book or a computer and stare at it all day learning things because it just doesn't interest me. I use my two sons as an example of this. So Alex, who works within the business, very similar to me, is a people person. He'll meet people. He's a great photographer and videographer, and he did that at college, and that's what he does in here with us now. So he's using his skills. But if he'd have gone to university, we might as well just got 40 grand and thrown it out of the window. Probably more, because he'd have probably drunk that much while he were there. His brother, if he hadn't have gone, I'd have killed him, because he's the complete opposite of me and Alex. He's more like his mum who can study and can do things. And we need to give people the right tools for the job. It might be that you need to go to university, and you might want a job that you need to go to university for. But there's also a load of kids out there now that are coming through schools feeling under pressure that they've got to do that. When they don't, there are jobs that you can learn. And we've seen a massive change over the last 10 years. So the group of businesses got together and said, right, we've got to start attacking this now because we're running out of people coming out of college or school that we can employ. Because they're all doing this, or they're all going to be hairdressers or whatever. We need them to understand what manufacturing's about.
And we need those skills and that knowledge in the country because we don't have it. We don't have it.
No. And so what we did is we came up with a plan, and Graham, who was the guy who set it up, he worked at Agfa up on Cole Road, and he'd been to America and seen what they were doing. So they set this manufacturing alliance up, and the idea was that we would go into schools and colleges and we would speak to the teachers who mostly had been to school, been to college, been to university, and that was the only thing they knew. So they had to push their students to do the same. We go, look, there's other opportunities here. Speak to the parents, because parents speak to other parents, and the guys who are going to university, their parents are going, oh, well, your kids aren't as good as ours, and because they're not going to university, they drop out. So it's like, so it's social, I don't know what you call it, but
prejudice, I guess.
Yeah, if you want, and it's like, well, they can't be as good. So what we've done actively as a region has worked, because what we're looking at now is the first apprentice festival that was held, Leeds City Council put it on at Ellen Road. I think we got about 500 students through in the day. Well, February this year, they've just got 12,000 through in an afternoon.
Wow.
They have to hire Leeds Arena now. But it's not just manufacturing businesses in there. There's solicitors, there's accountancy companies, because people are understanding now that you can learn whilst you're working. When you see what's going on with universities now with the charges, and what students are coming out with at the end of it. Even students are looking now and saying, wow, like, I can go to work, I can learn, they'll pay me for it.
I can go into the workforce, I can work for 5 to 10 years, save up some money, and then if I want to, go to university.
Exactly, yeah. So I think one of the sides we work really closely, or one of the colleges we work really closely with, are the UTC in Leeds on Hunslet Road, which is the University Technical College. And that's been a real godsend, that. My wife, Kath, once again got heavily involved with that from day one.
Yeah.
And it's a great example of how it works, which is now it's literally, this week we've got 4 students coming in from the college that will come through, and they'll want to have a look at us and then come and work for us in summer, but we get to look at them. So they know there's only one position this year, unfortunately. But 4 will come in, and they and us will choose who it's going to be.
Yeah.
We have the teachers come here. So last month we had 2 teachers come for 3 or 4 hours to look at the business, so they understand what business is about. So when they're teaching the classes, they're actually teaching it with the point of view that this is what we know you need to know to get a job in that type of company. So, and then likewise, we then help set some of the curriculum. So now I know the UTC in Leeds is doing work on neon lights, but it's the new LED neon lights. So they came up here and had a look at the neon, the real neon that we've got here in the factory. But then they go away and we can go through how it's progressed and LED. And it's different, but they will be designing that. They've done Bluetooth speaker projects with us. They've done all sorts over the years. So, but then we'll go down and we'll look at what they've done. We go to open days and open evenings. So when parents are coming round, it's quite a big thing to take your kid out of normal school, if you want, and put your trust in this technical college. But we speak to the parents and they say, right, what is it like? What connections do they have with industry? And I'm like, well, we're here. If you look round here, there's another 3 or 4 businesses here. And they will come to our factory. They will have open days here. So I know we've got another one in June where they'll be bringing a school class up or one of the classes up. And we'll bring them in here and then we'll walk around the factory and they'll meet people and we'll see how things are going on. So it gives them an insight into the world of work. It gives them an insight into a factory. Because who's been in a factory when you're 14, 15 years old? You've not, have you? So, and that's it. So that's where the Leeds Manufacturing Festivals come about. And what we are seeing now as a group of employers that have been involved with it, these students are coming through colleges and they're actually ringing us up or they've had contact with us because they've been round each of our businesses. And somebody might want to go to Leeds Welding Company because they've been. They might want to go to MPM because they've been, or Graham Box or whoever else, because they've had contacts with people. They're not scared to send me an email because they know where I am, because I've been to the college, they've been here. We're not some big ogre sat behind a desk. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, and what also we do then is we get apprentices that are coming through our business and the other businesses, go talk to the students. So in some 55-year-old bloke going into a room and going, we're great. This is somebody who's 18 going, this is where I started. I left school, didn't have much confidence, but now I'm sat in front of you guys. This is what I do on a daily basis. This is how they've helped me develop as well as my role in the business.
Here's an actual thing that I've made hundreds
exactly,
of.
And I think you need somebody your same age group telling you this is good, peers, not somebody who's like, as I say, I look like a dinosaur when you're 16. The need to be able to relate to somebody who can do this, and that's what we've done. And I go to meetings. I've just been Leeds City College. They've got problems in employing teachers because there's more work or better paid jobs out on building sites than there is in a college. When people have had enough of working outside and they get into a stage where they're going, right, I'm too old for running up and down ladders or scaffolding, I'll go be a teacher again. they don't necessarily have the skill sets to teach because technology's moved on.
Yeah.
So the building trade's going through exactly what we went through as a manufacturing industry, and they're going to have to start doing something similar. And we were talking about this once again yesterday, but also a lot of SMEs need to get out there and start just literally integrating with the local communities, the colleges, the schools, and let people know they're there.
Yeah.
Because I talk to business now and say, we don't understand how you can get these people to come and work for you. And it's, well, because I go out on a Wednesday night and I go to the college, or I go to a meeting on a Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock, because I'm not doing 9 till 5. So they're not just going to all come flooding through your doors. But if you're passionate about your business and your workforce and everything else, why wouldn't you want to go out there and tell people what you do and get them excited about it, get them to come and work for you, because they're the next generation who'll be carrying this place through. So we've just set a new salesman on who's 24, 25-ish. He'll work with Alex. So when me and Nigel drop off our purchase, we've already got the next layer coming through, and they will become the new face, because they need to do, because say we're all ancient now. So, but we've got to keep it going, and you've got to keep that conveyor coming through, because if you don't, all of a sudden you run out of people, and that's the end of your business. That's not what we want.
Yeah. I'm going to stop it there.
Is that all right?
A little bit over. No, it's perfect. I thought about sort of flashing the time in front of you.
No, you're all right. It's not, I am.
But thank you very much for doing this. I realised I didn't ask you the question on social media. It's not that important. But I mean, if you want to say anything on it, you can.
What, as in, do we use it?
Well, generally the question is like, how much do you have to do on social media? Because even if you're like, you've got a social media person, they'll be dragging you in of like, we need a word from you, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, if my phone rings, I'll have to take it, but he hasn't rung yet, so that's all right. Social media is massive for us. For our group, or our, what shall I say, for the sector that we sell to, which is mainly people's homes, and it's mainly people in the 50s upwards, Facebook's massive for us, because we can give people an insight into our business.
Yeah.
And because we're selling worldwide, it's great, because there's stuff going out all the time that's been seen in California or Sydney or Tokyo or wherever, where they're not getting on a plane to come and see us.
Yeah.
So A, gives the business credence, because people actually know we're here. Yeah. We're not just a made-up thing, which with AI at the minute, you look at things sometimes and go, is that actually real or not? We're here, we are real. And we go around the factory and we see things. So Facebook's massive, Instagram's massive, LinkedIn's huge, not from a sales point of view, but from an understanding of what the business does, connecting with the right people, etc. We will be doing more social media. It's been fantastic for us, and it's free. Apart from time. Yeah. There's that many different ways people can view things now. I mean, I still walk into rooms and people never heard of us, they don't know there's somebody building jukeboxes in
but
Leeds.
Once they have, they remember, don't they?
Yeah, of course they do. Yeah. But the thing, it's like I've always said, if you don't read that paper or you don't see that TV programme that features, or you're not on radio, we still don't exist. People still don't know we're here. We do tons. We're out at exhibitions every month. We're going to Glasgow tomorrow for the Ideal Home exhibition. We were at Grand Designs last month. We were at where we were doing Home and Renovation show last month. We'll be up at the Yorkshire show in July. We'll be in Dubai in September. But if you're not at any of those, you need another way of seeing where we are. And most people are on social media now. And it's we've got great followers. We've got people...
An Instagrammable product.
Instagrammable product. And there's even talk about TikTok at the minute. So I don't know, I'll have to be dressed up as an elephant or something, dancing. So God knows what the lava's doing. But look, it's time. Yeah. And we've got to make time to do it, because as I say, we can reach so many people through it, and it's a great way of communicating with the world, and also them communicating with us, which is the great thing. You get the odd idiot, and we soon bin them off, and then everybody else is part of the family, and it helps grow that community, which, as I say, we have a great community of jukebox owners, and it helps them interact with each other as well, because once people have got into it, it's a bit of a lifestyle.
They can compete, and if they've got loads of money, they can start out trying to outbuy each other. That's your ideal.
We have a few customers who have more than one. In fact, we've got a few customers who have got 2, 3 and 4 now. So it's, once you get the bug, if you've got a big enough house. We've
actually put a few in. Room.
Of course, we've put a few in bedrooms and stuff like that recently.
Have you got a waterproof one for the bathrooms?
No, not yet, but there's an idea. It's come back next year and we'll see if we can introduce you to our new model.
Thank you again to Chris for being my guest, and thanks so much to Chris for inviting me down to the factory to have a look around. It was bloody great to see the place and all the jukeboxes, old and new, and the machines being built. It was very cool. I really want someone to buy me a jukebox now, please. They're really fucking cool. Thanks, as always, to all my guests, and thanks to you, Leeds, for being my subject. You can find out more about Sound Leisure at soundleisure.com. And you can find out more about the Leeds Manufacturing Festival at leedsmanufacturingfestival.co.uk. If you'd like to find out more about buying your very own Working Hours episode, then you can go to western-studios.com/be on a podcast /working hours podcast, the paid plan. So everything after western-studios.com has a hyphen between the words. The links, as always, will be in the show notes. Prices for your very own episode of Working Hours, all about little old you and your work or business, starts at £250 for audio-only episodes, and there are also discounts available too, so go and have a look and see if you qualify for a discount. Equally, you can buy episodes of Working Hours for friends, family or colleagues, or you can put in some cash towards paying for episodes for other people. I'm now pretty much done with all the free labour I'm prepared to do on promoting Leeds and its businesses and workforce, but I'm happy to keep doing it if my own costs are covered. If you want to get in touch with me about this episode or any other free episode of Working Hours or anything Working Hours related, then you can email me about this show at workinghourspod@western-studios.com. You can send a tip to me for all the work I have done and any value you have got from this show by going and donating at Ko-fi. That's ko-fi.com/working hours. It's a £3 minimum donation, and anything you do donate is very much appreciated. Or you can give a regular donation towards paying for the creation of new future episodes of this show by joining the Patreon at patreon.com/C4Creator/working hours pod. Memberships start at £6 a month, so you will pay for a new episode every 50 months, or less if more people join, or if you pay a higher subscription rate. Okay, that's me, and that was Working Hours. Thank you for listening, and I hope you got something out of it. I did, and it wasn't just worse health and less wealth, although I got both of those too. Best of luck to you all through the debt crisis, the wars, the corruption, and the Super El Nino. Remember, listener, no matter what you do, it is impossible for you to understand anything that your salary depends on you not understanding. So try to work for peace and try to plan with kindness. Raise your voice, but reduce your impact. Cheers, ears. Take care out there and be kind to each other, Leeds. Thank you very much for listening, and if you enjoyed this episode or any episode, please share it or them with someone else who you think would get something from them. Thank you. Bye.
Working Hours is produced, recorded, edited, created and published by Simon Treen for Western Studios Leeds Limited. The music was The Bees from Chopin's Etudes, which is in the public domain and was taken from museopen.org. Remember Western Studios Leeds Limited when you're ready to start making your content in West Yorkshire. Follow Western Studios Leeds on Facebook, facebook.com/Western_Studios_Leeds, and on LinkedIn linkedin.com/company/western-studios. Bookmark western-studios.com so you can see the latest prices and use my contact page to drop me a message about your own podcast project or working hours at any time from anywhere. Maybe you want or need a podcast host, co-host, or narrator for your podcast project. Maybe you just need another voice for one or more episodes of your show. Podcasts are so much more than gossip, book promotions, and marketing for online courses. Podcasts and other audio content get your online brand out there. Want to make some fundraising case studies? Want to have an audiobook or video course? Want to share your learning, knowledge, and expertise in your field? Want to learn, teach, or raise awareness of something general or particular? Want to improve internal comms with messages your staff might actually engage with? Or do you just want to brighten up the world with some entertaining content? Then make a podcast. If you're making your podcast within West Yorkshire, then think about making it with western-studios.com. Whatever your podcast questions or needs, get in touch with Western Studios Leeds.